Black Belt asked an innocent cleaner to fight for fun. What happened next left all speechless. Travis Kane stepped in front of Maya Cole just as she tried to slip past with her bucket and folded towels. The corner of his mouth curled when he noticed the mop handle sticking out of her cleaning cart. He tapped it with the back of his knuckle and said loud enough for the students to hear, "You know, Maya, I have an idea. How about you and I try a little friendly sparring? Just for fun." A few light chuckles rippled through the room. The kind people make when they are certain nothing serious could come from the moment. Maya kept her voice calm, asking him to move so she could finish her work. But Travis was not interested in letting the moment pass. He circled her slowly, feeding off the attention, tossing playful jabs in the air as if warming up for a show only he understood. The students watched with amusement, whispering to one another, expecting a harmless joke and nothing more. Maya told him she was not here to fight anyone, yet Travis pressed harder, his tone turning sharper under the disguise of humor. Each step he took pushed her closer to a decision she did not want to make. When she finally agreed to defend herself if he insisted, the room shifted. Laughter faded. Eyes widened. No one expected her to say yes. Maya stepped onto the mat with quiet steps, and an uneasy silence settled across the gym. The air felt heavy, charged with the kind of tension that makes people freeze in place. And just before the first move could happen, support this channel with a like and subscribe so you never miss stories that keep you at the edge of your seat. Maya Cole reached Iron Reach Academy long before the sun lifted over the parking lot. The world was still quiet at that hour, the kind of silence she preferred. She unlocked the side door, slipped inside, and began her routine mats. First, mirrors next, then equipment racks. The work was repetitive, but she moved through it with a precision that did not match the simplicity of her job. Each step was measured, each lift controlled. Even the way she wrung out a towel carried an unusual steadiness, as if her body followed rules written long before she arrived at this gym. Most students walked past her without offering so much as a glance. They treated her like part of the building, a presence that existed but did not require acknowledgement. Travis Kane treated her even worse. To him, she was background noise. He barked instructions at his students while she swept a corner, often raising his voice simply to make sure she heard the dismissive tone he used. It was a routine. Everyone had grown accustomed to Travis, dominating the room. Maya, fading into the edges. But Maya's silence was not weakness. Her stillness held weight. When she bent to lift heavy bags, she did not grunt or adjust her stance. She simply lifted, the way someone trained in perfect form would. When she wiped mirrors, her reflection revealed a balance in her posture that seasoned athletes struggled to maintain. She carried herself like someone who once lived in movement, someone who understood the body far more deeply than she let on. Harper Quinn, one of the Academy's most dedicated students, noticed these small details from time to time. A perfectly straight spine, footwork that looked almost too natural. A moment when Maya bumped into a falling pad and caught it without looking. Harper often wondered about it, but she always dismissed the thought, assuming Maya was simply naturally coordinated. Travis Kane, on the other hand, stood in sharp contrast to Maya's quiet presence. His teaching style was built on belittling those who struggled. If a student hesitated, he mocked the hesitation. If a student slipped, he made the mistake feel deliberate. His ego filled the room long before his voice did. Students feared disappointing him, but none admired his character. They admired his belt, his rank, his power, but not him. Maya witnessed all of it during her shifts. She would pause mid-sweep and glance at the students flinching under his criticism. Sometimes she winced, not from fear, but from recognizing a kind of behavior that used to surround her during another life one. She had buried beneath years of silence. She hid her bruised knuckles beneath worn-out gloves, the gloves she insisted on wearing even when cleaning did not require them. Beneath those gloves were old competition scars, faded yet unmistakable to anyone who knew what they meant. No one at Iron Reach had ever seen them, and she intended to keep it that way. Every now and then, when she moved a stack of weights or adjusted a heavy stand, she did it with a fluid strength that left Harper staring for a second too long. But Maya always lowered her gaze and returned to her tasks, careful not to reveal more than she intended. She lived a life of disappearing into the background, simple, quiet, predictable, a life that allowed her to exist without drawing attention to the storm she carried inside. Yet all storms wait for a moment to break. That moment arrived the day Travis blocked her path with a grin, mocking the tools in her hands and asking for a fun spar. Maya tried to step around him, but he pushed the joke further and further until the room's attention locked onto the confrontation. The world she worked so hard to keep hidden stirred beneath her calm exterior, and by the time she reluctantly stepped onto the mat, everyone sensed something unusual, a tension they could not name, a quiet power they had never noticed. Everything was about to change, and none of them understood how unprepared they were for the truth waiting to surface. Travis Kane rolled his shoulders as he stepped onto the mat, stretching his arms in wide circles as if preparing for a real match. He cracked his neck, bounced on his heels, and flashed a grin at the circle of students gathering around. They expected a show, not a challenge. Travis played into it, tossing jokes into the air about warming up for the big fight and going easy on the cleaning crew. Every laugh from the crowd fed his confidence, swelling his ego even further. Maya Cole walked toward the mat without hurry, her steps quiet and even. She set her cleaning cloth aside and slipped off the thin gloves she always wore. The slow, precise way she peeled them from her fingers forced a stillness across the room. It was the kind of movement fighters made before entering a ring, controlled, steady, familiar. A few students noticed it, their brows pulling together in confusion, but they did not voice it. Most of them assumed Maya was nervous, nothing more. As she stepped onto the mat, whispers spread around the room. Some students made quick bets, laughing under their breath. Certain Travis would end the fight with one tap on the shoulder. Others looked at Maya with pity, already imagining how embarrassed she would feel. Travis fed off their energy, pointing at the mop bucket in the corner and joking about using it to clean up after the match. The room enjoyed the moment, unaware that they were seconds away from losing their breath. Travis lifted his hands, adopting a loose stance, more playful than serious. He threw the first punch with a smirk, a lazy jab meant to tease her. But the moment his fist moved, Maya shifted, not fast, not dramatic, just a smooth step backward that made his hand cut through empty air. The room fell quiet for a heartbeat. Travis blinked, surprised, but still amused. He tried again, this time aiming a bit quicker. Maya moved again, slipping out of reach with a grace that made a few students straighten their backs. It was not luck. It looked too clean, too practiced. Her feet carried her with perfect balance, and her eyes never left Travis's chest, reading his intentions before he acted. Travis's smile faded. He narrowed his eyes, muttering something about her getting lucky twice. His arms tightened. His stance sharpened. He decided to take it seriously, at least for a moment. He stepped in fast, swinging a sharper punch, then a second one, then a quick kick meant to surprise her. Maya flowed around every strike like water sliding around rocks. She never rushed. She never panicked. Her breathing stayed soft, steady, almost peaceful. Students stared, their whispers dying off one by one. Shoes scraped the floor as a few of them stepped closer, trying to understand what they were seeing. Harper Quinn's eyes widened as she watched Maya's footwork light, balanced, intentional. Something about it felt familiar. Too familiar. Travis pushed harder, sweat forming at his temples. His strikes grew faster, his movements louder. He tried hooking punches, feints, quick steps to catch her off guard. Nothing worked. Every punch cut through air. Every kick missed by inches. Maya did not counter, did not touch him, did not even raise her hands. She simply avoided him with a precision that silenced the entire gym. A heavy breath escaped Travis when he stepped back for a moment, frustration tightening his jaw. He wiped his forehead with the back of his hand, confused by how winded he already felt. Maya stood across from him, calm, steady, untouched. He had not landed a single strike. Not even close. And for the first time since he stepped on the mat, Travis Kane understood something was wrong, terribly wrong. Maya Cole was not who he believed she was, and the room felt the truth closing in like a slow, heavy tide. Travis Kane stepped in again, this time without the playful grin he wore earlier. His jaw clenched as he tried to shake off the embarrassment creeping across his face. The students who had been laughing minutes ago now stood still, as smiles fading as they watched him struggle against someone they believed had no chance. The air inside the gym shifted, growing tight and uneasy as Travis launched a faster combination. 2 punches and a low kick aimed to corner Maya. Maya moved with the same calm precision she had shown from the start. She shifted her weight just enough to let his fist pass, then angled her body to let his kick skim through the air. Her expression did not change. She did not raise her hands or brace for impact. She was simply there, reading him, moving before he completed each attack. Travis's breathing grew harsher. He came in closer, trying to overwhelm her with speed. His punches snapped through the air, louder now, fueled by frustration more than technique. Maya stepped back, her voice steady as she said, "You should stop. I do not want to hurt you." Her tone was gentle, not mocking, yet it cut deeper than any insult could have. Travis heard pity in her words, and it set something off inside him. He pushed forward recklessly, footwork sloppy, shoulders tight. Every failed strike chipped away at his confidence. Sweat rolled down his neck as he swung again, missing her by inches. The students exchanged uneasy glances. This was no longer a joke. This was something none of them understood. One student lifted a phone, hesitant at first, then quietly pressed record. Others leaned in, trying to make sense of the scene unfolding in front of them. Harper Quinn stood among them, her eyes narrowing as she studied Maya's movements. The way Maya shifted her feet looked intentional. The way she rotated her hips barely suggested training, not casual, occasional training, but deep, practiced skill. Travis tried a sudden roundhouse kick, putting all his strength behind it. Maya stepped inside the arc of his leg with a speed that forced the entire room to inhale sharply. She did not strike him. She simply moved into the perfect position, her balance grounded and light at the same time. Travis stumbled as his kick missed, his heels skidding across the mat. He growled under his breath and charged again. His fists moved faster now, but his form was breaking apart. Maya's eyes stayed on his shoulders, reading the tension that revealed his next attack before he threw it. When he shifted his weight to punch with his left hand, she had already stepped out of reach. When he leaned to try a sweeping kick, she had already lifted her foot just enough to avoid it. A quiet murmur spread among the students. None of them had seen a cleaner move like this. None of them could explain how she predicted every motion before Travis made it. The gym felt strangely small, as if the walls were pulling closer, trapping everyone inside this moment. Travis's frustration reached its peak. He rushed toward Maya with a wild combination punch, knee, elbow, hoping something, anything, would land. His movements lacked control, each strike louder and more desperate than the last. Maya stepped back once, then sidestepped, then pivoted, all without breaking her calm. She looked at him and spoke again, her voice low, almost sad. "You need to stop." Travis ignored her. He swung one final punch, the kind thrown when technique has vanished completely. Maya stepped to the side and lifted her hand gently, placing just 2 fingers against his wrist. The touch was so light, it looked like nothing happened. But somehow Travis lost his balance. His body twisted, momentum collapsing under him. He stumbled forward, slipping several steps before catching himself on one knee. Gasps echoed across the gym. The students froze. No one understood what they witnessed. It had happened too fast, too smooth, too effortless. Travis looked up, his face red, chest heaving. Maya stood exactly where she had been, breathing softly, not a hair out of place. Harper Quinn stepped closer, eyes wide, studying the position of Maya's feet. The angle of her hips, the firmness in her posture. Recognition flickered across her face, something she had seen before, something she could not yet name but felt on the edge of remembering. The room stayed frozen, held by the weight of a truth slipping into the light. Maya Cole was not who they thought she was. In the moment Travis rose to try again, everyone sensed they were about to learn why. Harper Quinn's fingers trembled slightly as she pulled out her phone. The moment had been too unbelievable to ignore. She typed quickly, searching for the movements she had just witnessed. Footage began to load clips of a fighter dominating championship bouts. Precise, fluid, unstoppable. Each video confirmed what her instincts had already guessed. Maya Cole, the woman standing calmly on the mat, was the same fighter the world once knew as Silent Tempest. A 5-time MMA world champion who had retired undefeated after a legendary career. The gym went quiet as Harper's voice trembled slightly, but carried clearly. Everyone, you need to see this. She is Maya Cole, Silent Tempest, 5-time MMA world champion. Students exchanged wide-eyed glances. Mouths fell open. Travis Kane froze mid-step, his confidence evaporating instantly. Pride that had carried him through years of teaching and intimidation crumbled like fragile glass. The man who had laughed at Maya just minutes ago now looked pale, unsure, and small before the very person he had humiliated. Maya did not smile. She did not boast. Her calm presence was more commanding than any words could be. She nodded once, almost imperceptibly, acknowledging the truth without needing to declare it. Her silence carried authority heavier than any championship belt. The students' whispers grew into a low hum of astonishment. They realized they had misjudged her entirely. She was never the timid background cleaner they assumed. She had been hiding a force of nature in plain sight. Travis's breathing became uneven. His ego refused to accept defeat, and he lunged forward, attempting one last desperate strike, hoping to salvage his pride. His movements were rushed, unbalanced, driven by frustration rather than technique. Maya's eyes followed him like a hawk tracking prey. She waited. Not for revenge, not for anger, only for the perfect moment. In a single, fluid motion, she placed a light hand on his chest. The touch was soft, almost casual, but the result was dramatic. Travis Kane's feet left the ground. He flew backward, landing across the mat with a thud that echoed in the silent gym. The entire room held its breath. The students could hardly believe what they had witnessed. Maya had not hurt him physically. She had not struck him with brute force. Yet the demonstration was absolute. Travis's arrogance lay shattered at her feet, his posture defeated before the eyes of everyone who had doubted her. Harper, still holding her phone, began recording again, capturing every stunned reaction and every subtle movement Maya made. A sense of realization swept through the gym. Respect, true respect, did not come from belts, titles, or loud words. It came from mastery, discipline, and integrity. The students had learned it in the most dramatic way possible. Travis had thought he could humiliate her, dominate the situation, and prove his authority. But he had underestimated someone whose skill, control, and presence surpassed everything he knew. Maya stepped back, composed, and extended her hand to Travis, not mockingly, not condescendingly, but to give him a chance to rise with some dignity. Travis took it, shaking, but the humility in his eyes was undeniable. The transformation was immediate. The man who had terrorized beginners now understood the weight of his own arrogance. The cost of underestimating someone based on appearances. Harper turned the phone to show the footage to the students. This is real. Look at her technique, her timing, her control. This is what we were witnessing. Social media would never forget this moment. The clip of a cleaning lady sending a black belt flying would spread instantly, igniting discussions across martial arts forums, local news, and viral platforms. Respect for Maya Cole, the Silent Tempest, became unstoppable in that instant. Travis knelt for a moment, the full reality of the lesson sinking in. He had faced his own limits and failed publicly, learning the harsh truth that arrogance without understanding is dangerous. Students approached Maya with awe, nods of respect, and silent acknowledgement that everything they thought they knew had been turned upside down. The gym, once filled with laughter at her expense, now held reverent silence. Maya finally allowed herself a brief, genuine smile. She did not seek praise, only understanding. Strength, she said softly, is never about showing off. It is about knowing yourself and respecting others. The words lingered in the air as the students absorbed the lesson deeper than any fight could teach. The video of the confrontation spread immediately. Comments, shares, and messages flooded social media. People were captivated by the humbling of Travis Kane and the revelation of Maya Cole's identity. She had not only defended herself, she had reminded the world that true greatness is quiet, disciplined, and transformative. By the end of the day, Maya's story had captured attention far beyond Iron Reach Academy. Students, instructors, casual viewers alike began to question assumptions and reflect on the difference between arrogance and mastery. The Silent Tempest had returned, not for glory, but to teach the world a lesson that power without respect is meaningless. And for everyone watching this unfold, do not forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel to witness more stories of courage, hidden talent, and moments where ordinary lives reveal extraordinary strength. The video of Maya Cole's demonstration spread like wildfire, capturing millions of views within hours. Social media erupted with admiration and disbelief. People could not stop sharing clips of a simple cleaner effortlessly humbling a black belt. The world had witnessed the return of the Silent Tempest, and everyone was talking about it. Iron Reach Academy's owner called Maya personally the next morning. "We need you," he said, voice filled with urgency and respect. "Our students would benefit far more from your guidance than anyone else." Maya accepted, not for fame or recognition, but to teach discipline, respect, and true skill. Her calm presence instantly brought a new energy to the gym. Students who had once ignored her now listened attentively, hung on every word, and followed her demonstrations with admiration. Travis Kane avoided the gym for weeks. His reputation was damaged, and every student who had witnessed the incident now questioned his methods and authority. He eventually returned to a smaller, less prominent gym, humbled by the public lesson he had received. The arrogance that once defined him was replaced by a quiet self-awareness. The humiliation would remain a lasting memory. Maya's approach to teaching was the complete opposite of Travis's. She emphasized patience, control, and respect for others above all. Students learned to defend themselves, not to intimidate, and to understand that real power comes from discipline, not fear. Her reputation grew steadily, but in a way that reflected her values rather than her past fame. No flashy displays, no ego, only mastery shared with grace and humility. The transformation was complete. Iron Reach Academy became a place where respect and skill were valued equally, where students understood that appearances could be deceiving, and where humility always outshone arrogance. Maya had turned a moment of public confrontation into a lasting lesson, and the impact rippled far beyond the gym's walls. Her legacy was not just in her skill, but in the way she inspired others to respect themselves and those around them. And for everyone watching, remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel to catch more stories of ordinary people revealing extraordinary strength, teaching lessons that go beyond what the eye can see. Months later, Maya walked past a smaller, quieter gym across town. Inside, she spotted Travis Kane leading a class, his movements careful and controlled, his voice calm instead of arrogant. He caught her eye and gave a brief nod, a silent gesture of gratitude for the lesson he would never forget. Maya returned the nod with a gentle smile, a quiet acknowledgement that the past confrontation had changed both of them. For a moment, the nickname Silent Tempest seemed to hang in the air, not shouted or celebrated, but quietly present in the way she carried herself, composed and unassuming, yet undeniably powerful. The students around Travis moved with respect now, mirroring the humility he had learned to embrace. Maya continued on her way, letting the memory settle. True strength, she reflected silently, does not need to be announced. It does not demand attention or applause. It is quiet, controlled, and revealed only when necessary and expected, yet undeniable. And as this story shows, the most extraordinary people often live ordinary lives, waiting for the right moment to remind the world of their true power. If this story inspired you, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you never miss more incredible tales of resilience, courage, and unexpected triumph.